In dialogue with President Cyril Ramaphosa at City Hall this evening. Now, the event is organized by the Department of Women and is part of the commemorations of Youth Month. Let's cross live to our reporter Ntakwana Ngatana, who is at the scene following the story for us. And Ntakwana, a very good afternoon to you. Do tell us what are some of the topics that will be on the agenda that will be discussed today. I know that the President is very vocal in, of course, making sure, supporting the drive of women coming into sectors that were previously male-dominated.
Well, Alicia, this is quite an open program, and of course we are at the center of the economic hub of South Africa, Johannesburg, and here the President continues with his commemoration of Youth Month. But I can just mention that when he spoke at the weekend at the Kgalema Motlanthe Inclusive Growth Forum, and that was in KwaZulu-Natal, he did say that if women are not included in the economy in South Africa, especially young women, if they are not given an equal opportunity to excel, then the economy will continue to not grow. But he ended that sentence by saying that the reason that women should be given an opportunity is because they're better than men anyway. So we can marvel at that, Alicia. But of course, we can also quote the Premier of Gauteng, David Makhura, who closed that session by saying that he comes from a province of exclusions where the very, very rich live next to the very, very poor. Now, this particular event, organized by the Department of Women, has drawn women from all sectors of society. We understand women from Diepsloot will be here. We understand young women who are in university will be here. We understand women from all walks of life have been invited to this event to be in conversation with the President. And as I say, it's quite an open dialogue where women will really decide the direction that it takes in terms of what they want to address with their concerns with the President. Alicia?
All right, and what happens after this dialogue in Ntakwana? Will any of the decisions or deliberations taken here be elevated to any effective level, say legislative level, seeing that the President and of course the Minister of Women herself is going to be part of this? And we also know she is the President of the Women's League, and we saw that she drew a lot of criticism about how she did not have a separate campaign that was championing women's rights, particularly at Nasrec at the NC conference last year.
Well, Alicia, I think what one can say is that it looks like coming out of this particular dialogue, and it looks like there will be many of these dialogues probably that will happen, but particularly coming out of this one, the Department of Women, as I say, is driving it, and they are the ones who have invited the young women here. But I mean, if we look at issues that affect young women in the country, you can look at the top one being unemployment that affects youth across the sexual or gender divide in the country, but particularly young women. And one of the things that we know are statistics that are quite scary. Some of the women that are invited here are women that are single parents, women that fell pregnant when they were young, women that have had to bear the brunt really of social ills in our society. So we expect that what comes out of here will probably advise the programs of the Department of Women going forward, because you remember that it is under the presidency. So even though the President and the Minister are here, this particular ministry was dedicated to ensure that women in particular receive a specific focus or a special focus from the Office of the President. Alicia?
Absolutely. You know, Ntakwana, still on that note, we're always hearing this narrative that the Women's Department is a very silent or ineffective one when it comes to championing these women's rights. Do you know if they have any plans, particularly that might even be announced today or at a later stage, that are going to deal precisely with this narrative that they're not doing anything when it comes to women and child abuse and other issues affecting women, particularly rural women as well? We hear they're always the people that are left behind when these innovative projects are embarked upon.
Well, you know that the Ministry of Women has been accused in the past of not saying enough, especially about femicide in the country. This is a scourge that we have seen increase over time. And so we believe that perhaps coming out of here, when you have seen the faces of the women that are affected, and the young women particularly, that are affected not only by unemployment, but by the abuse that you're talking about, by other challenges that women probably come across, perhaps the department will find itself in a position where it is accountable, if you like, or has to listen to what the women say, especially if they've said it in the presence of the president. But of course, the other thing I think that we have to be mindful of is that this is a province in which the ANC, as you mentioned earlier, the Minister of Women is the president of the Women's League. The ANC lost the Johannesburg Metro in the 2016 local government elections. So it might make sense why it is that they feel that this is one of the areas where they need to convince young people that in fact they have not lost the ability or the desire to address their issues as they may be.
Ntakwana, thank you so much for that sound update. What time is the event expected to kick off? And just give us a brief of what the program looks like.
Well, as I say, it is an open program. We know that there will be welcome addresses by the minister, and then we will have messages of support. But following that, it really is an open dialogue, and it looks like it will be open for women to really steer the course of the debate with the president.
I was hoping you're going to say Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka might just make a surprise appearance then. Ntakwana, thank you so much for joining us. That is our reporter there at the City Hall, where President Cyril Ramaphosa will be engaging in a dialogue with women in particular this evening.